Hello everyone, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So today I am doing my review on the new Juvia's Nubian 3 Coral palette. So as you guys can see, this is what the palette looks like. I am wearing it on my eyes today, and I did do a first impression just in case you're wondering and you want to see it firsthand being used. I will link that up in the iCards if you're interested in that. Now this palette retails for $20 full price. As you guys know, Juvias Place tends to have a lot of sales going on, so you could probably get this 30-40% off if you wait. This is one of their newest one. It is permanent to their collection. Okay, so before I get into the full review, this palette reminded me of two palettes that are out in the market, that have been out in the market. I will put the pictures up on the screen. One of them is actually my makeup kit, so that's why I don't have it with me, but the other one I do not own. Both of those are more neutral compared to this one, and I did want to point that out just in case you were wondering this is something new. It's not actually the color of the year this year, the Pantone color of the year is coral, so I'm actually not surprised that we are seeing a lot of coral palettes or palettes that are incorporating a lot of coral in them. So as you guys can see, the newest Urban Decay palette as well as the Sultry palette from Anastasia both have a gray coral theme going on to them, but those are a lot more neutral than this one. As you guys can see, this one has a lot more deeper, more vibrant coral in it. And I want to point out that this palette is actually all coral with pops of gray. If you look at this palette, the first thing you're going to see is those grays. So to me, it's more pops of grays than it is pops of corals, because that's the first thing that popped in my head. If you're looking at a palette, the one or two or few shadows that pop out of you are mainly the ones that are the pop of color in the palette. So I wanted to emphasize on the pop of gray in this palette because I don't feel like the grays dominate this palette at all. It is a coral with pops of grays in them. Now, as you guys know, whenever I do reviews on any type of product, I tend to avoid anybody else's reviews until I'm done mine, or any tutorials, so I don't sway into thinking how the person thinks or anything. But quite a few of you had mentioned to me when I was doing my first impression that you saw quite a few reviews, you weren't sure, you didn't like the look that they came out with, it didn't seem like it was pretty or attractive, and then when you saw my look you were like, oh, well, maybe it is not such a bad palette. As I mentioned in the past, Juvias Place eyeshadows, their mattes do not swatch as great. They're not the best at swatching, but they are good on the eyes. They are buildable, which is something good for certain shadows. Not all of these mattes are going to be a pop right away, but that could be good because you may not want such a saturated color with certain things. And I'm saying that because the two matte grays in here, they don't swatch good. You do have to build them up, but when you build them up, they are actually pretty on the eyes. And to be honest with you, I prefer those to be more subdued than the coral ones because I want the corals to pop in this palette. So it actually worked out in the end. I also mentioned that in my last review of the last Juvias Place, the tribal one, that lime green eyeshadow, I wanted it to be more of a bang in my face, but I was able to build it up to what I wanted. It wasn't initially like that. And that's the majority of Juvias Place mattes. And I want you guys to understand their formula because some people may have considered that they weren't good or the pigmentation wasn't there. Their mattes are generally like that. That's how they are across the board. So whenever I hear that the pigmentation isn't there, it's known. That is something that they're known for. Their metallic or their satins are a lot more vibrant than their mattes are, but their mattes are not bad because you could build them to what you want. Now the look that I am wearing today, I want to share with you guys what I did because I want to show you how I got this look. I actually started out with both of the grays. I grabbed both of the grays and I put them on my crease. Does it look like I'm wearing gray? No. I had given you guys a little trick in the Sultry palette that if you mix the gray with the coral, you end up with more of a plum shade. And look what ended up on my eyes. It looks like a plummy brown on my eyes. So you still can work with these grays, even if you're like, oh, I'm never going to use them. You actually can because you can mix them. So I did grab these two, put them on my crease. I built them to what I wanted it to. Then I went ahead and grabbed this vibrant matte coral shade, orangey coral, and I put it right inside the crease, and that's what came out with these two shades. And then for the lid, I went with this one right here, the reddish coral shade that they have. You do get a variety of corals in here. You get a soft, kind of like a peachy pink coral shade. You get this one right here, which is more of a brown coral. Then you get a red coral. You get a matte brown in here, a deep brown right here. This matte right here is a beautiful, kind of like a subdued, soft type of gray. And I do also want to mention that I don't feel like this palette is warm at all whatsoever. This is more of a cool, neutral type of palette. And I'm going to show you the difference between both of them. This is not warm to me at all. This is warm to me. I pulled out a palette so you guys can see the difference. This is warm. If you look at both of them paired, you could tell that this has more yellow undertone to it than this one. This one has more like gray, cooler, plummy type of shadows in them than this one does. This one's more neutral, cool, and this one's more warm tone. So you guys can actually see the difference in both. I wanted to share that with you guys too because I don't feel like this is a warm palette at all. Now, what do I think about this palette? When I first saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be a neutral palette for those that want more of a pop of that coral shade, but wearable, and you can use it every day. So I'm like, all right, let me get it. I'm going to test it out, really play around with it. Once I received it, the first thing that caught my attention were the grays. And that's when I realized the grays were the pops of color in this palette. It's truly a coral palette with pops of grays in them. So I'm like, all right, well, how is it going to work with the grays and the corals? Every which way I've used them, I have found a beautiful type of look. I've never actually came out with a look that I didn't like. The eye look that I have today, I love it. I have gray in there and you can't tell. The original first impression I did a lower lash line of gray. I thought that looked beautiful as well. So you can really make the gray stand out with these shades right here, or you can make it more subdued like what I did today. This is such a beautiful inner corner highlight. That's what I'm wearing today. It genuinely doesn't look like a true gray. It's more like a silvery white, so it really makes your eyes pop. This one I've only used as an inner corner highlight, and I love that for that one. I can't say that any of these are terrible. Again, the mattes are meant to be buildable. They're not meant to have that bam in your face pigmentation like the Anastasia one, but then you also got to consider the Anastasia ones are a lot more powdery than this one. These are not. You don't get that much powder kick up in these mattes because they're more densely packed and you can build them up, and I don't mind that, especially when it comes to colorful palettes. I tend to want to do that because then you get them to be patchy, they skip a lot on your eyes, and it's a lot harder to blend out, and these are a lot easier to use in that sense because of that reason. Overall, I was very shocked about this palette, and I always say that Juvia's Place tends to surprise me with palettes because I think it's going to be one way and then it comes out to be a whole different way, and this palette is beautiful. I genuinely like it. It's not one of my favorites, but it is super different from all the other palettes. It's definitely one of the most wearable, colorful ones that they have out. It is on trend with the whole coral and the pops of grays. I think it just goes well. They did such a good job on these, and I love the fact that they have different finishes within the shadows, so you can get a nice soft coral shade, or you can get a very vibrant metallic eyeshadow coral in here. So you're getting both of the spectrum. You're getting the bright bold, but you're also getting the subtle, so you do both. I don't see this not being wearable unless you really don't like these type of shadows. You're not gonna like them, and you're not pulling too warm tones. So for those that don't like warm tones, this is such a good palette to have. Now, who would I recommend this to? Somebody who has been looking for an inexpensive coral type of palette to go with nowadays trend. If you thought that the Urban Decay one and the Anastasia one were way too neutral for you, way too many browns, then this one might be for you because you're only honestly getting two browns. You're getting a matte brown and you're getting a metallic brown. So you're not getting so many browns in here. You're getting a lot of corals in here. If you like the coral shade, this is something for you. If you're not into the warm tones and you wanted something more neutral, cooler tone, this is something for you. I really, really did like it. I can't complain, and I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I fell head over heels when I first saw it. No. I looked at it and I'm like, oh goodness, what am I gonna do with this? And as I played around with it, never ceased to amaze me that Juvia's Place always does some sort of twist to their palettes, and they always catch me, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I do like you. I actually like you. So obviously you probably saw swatches of the whole entire palette, so you could see for yourself. If you guys want me to do more looks with it so you guys can get a little bit more comfortable with this palette, let me know in the comment section, because you guys really, I was blown away at how sweet you guys were with my first impression and how much you liked the look that I did, and how much you guys said that so far that my look was one of your favorite ones, and I made you rethink about this palette in the way that it was, because other people may or may not have done a look that you actually personally like. So if you guys want me to do more looks with it, let me know. I did do a poll, but this one did not win the poll, but I could still do something with it if you guys want me to, just some regular talk through video, just chit chatting, and I could use this palette on it. So I will list and link this down below if you are interested. It is permanent, so you guys can take your time if you are interested in it. You don't have to rush because it's not limited edition, which I do appreciate, and it's very inexpensive. It's 20 bucks full price, and I'm pretty sure you can get it cheaper when they do have sales. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys most likely tomorrow in a new video. And don't forget that a smile is the best makeup a girl can wear. Bye guys.